Record. Recording, guys. All right. Hello, everyone. We're here to bridge the gap. Thanks to Lamont for bringing this up and making this happen. We have a few of us here that have a lot of strengths that we want to share with everyone. So we want, the intention of this is for everything to flow and for you to be able to take something out of this and hopefully help you grow. So we have Keith Crowder. He specializes in nutrition. You can explain in what way, and in personal training. So he'll speak some on his nutritional background and some on what it means to him and his strengths. Yeah, a couple tips. We have Lamont Selby. What's up?
What's up?
And so I want to hear on your nutritional journey, where you started and like where you are now and your beliefs. So, you know, between all of us, we'll kind of touch on all that stuff, and then whatever else you wanted to bring up about this. And then we have Laura. Hi, Laura. I've known Laura for a really long time, but we kind of went separate ways and reconnected again. A lot of it through health, actually, and nutrition and truth. Mm-hmm. So I've seen you grow in your career, or just as a person, with helping others with the personal training. I saw that you guys started a group page for doing working out, you know, together and having tips and stuff. So you can also share a little bit about that and how to help others with also what you sell and things like that. So whatever it is from your journey and your point of view, it's all welcome. So I do want to share with everybody before we get started. We're here to help. So whatever we say that may sound blunt, it's just coming from a place of authenticity, and it doesn't mean that we're trying to offend anybody. If you do get offended, make sure you tune into the next video, which is on mental health, because it will help you realize that those are just triggers and pointers for things that you need to level up on. So it's our ego kind of saying, I don't want to level up, and so we get offended. So please don't take anything to offense, and I just hope that you get something good out of this. So who wants to take it off? Lamont?
Me?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm Lamont. I am 40 years old, and speaking on health and nutrition, I've been going on a little health journey for about, started actually in 1999 when I went to the Army, to the U.S. Army. I served 3 years active and 5 years reserve. I don't know what actually made me stop eating pork, but that was the first thing that I started eliminating from my diet. I began looking more on like what I was putting inside of my body, which, I mean, there's always room to grow. I need to get it all together, you know, but there's levels to it. So that was the first level for me. And after that, I would say maybe about a little over a year ago, I went on a holistic retreat, and we learned about different healing modalities, and we learned about we had no meat at all. It was straight vegetarian, and we learned about different dishes. And so you know, my thing was just wondering if it was going to taste good, you know, and it turned out to be really good. Everything was very tasteful. I liked it, and ever since I cut the meat out of my diet, and I immediately, well, not immediately, I started losing weight. People was like asking what was, you know, if I was okay and everything, but I was okay. I felt good, you know, but it became like a challenge. It was fun every day to try to figure out what am I going to eat to eliminate this meat out of my diet. So that's my share on as far as my health nutrition. I'm still growing and open to learn more. So I'm grateful for all of you all bringing your knowledge and enlightening me, and vice versa, and helping everyone else who's out here watching.
Yeah, because it takes a little bit from everybody. We all have different strengths. No one's higher than the other. You know, you could put somebody who knows things about technology and it's all Chinese to me, you know, but then I have my strengths. So I didn't introduce myself, but I basically My strengths are in philosophy. I'm getting my doctorate in philosophy, and then I have my master's in metaphysical science. So what I will do between all this is connect it holistically, like how this has to do with the spirit and how it connects with other things. So you won't be hearing much except me connecting you guys really, except when I have those little things to say that have to do with philosophy and all that. But I think we pretty much all here are somewhat vegetarian or vegan. Laura, what is your take? What are you really? I mean, like, who are you?
Well, my name is Laura Antonelli. I'll be 44 Tuesday. Yay.
Whoa.
Joanna's got to catch up.
I know, it's coming.
I started my health transformation about 2 years ago and started out vegetarian and then decided to go full vegan. Guess it's been probably about 8 or 9 that I've been fully plant. And I started that journey when I partnered with a company called Shackley. They're a holistic nutrition and wellness company, which takes health from a perspective of nutrition and home health and personal health care. So it incorporates, natural cleaning products, soaps, things like that you are putting on your skin, because obviously you're absorbing all of that, your nutrition, and then of course supplementation, which I think is really important, especially when you're on a journey of transforming your whole meal plan and converting to vegetarian or vegan, because it's a huge lifestyle change. I think we all probably kind of understand that a little bit better once you dig deeper into it, how detailed it is and how it kind of affects every part of your life. So that's been my personal journey, and then becoming a personal trainer as well. So helping people, in the physical aspect and kind of tying everything together. So that's kind of my current path. So in talking about nutrition and so forth, I know we're going to talk a little bit more about exercise later, but as far as key points for keeping people healthy now and building their immunity, especially with everything that's going on with COVID-19, I just want to hit on a few things that are simple, things that we know, but just a good refresher. Staying properly hydrated. That's really important for just overall body function, something that we overlook, but super important to our health right now. Obviously, exercise, getting out there, moving, living room workouts, whatever you can do, to keep that blood and keep those endorphins flowing as well. Obviously, good quality core nutrition, supplementation, making sure you're getting a lot of fruits and vegetables. That's super important. Sleep, something we all overlook, something that I struggle with. That's probably my biggest struggle in, health in general, is getting proper sleep, getting between 7 and 9 hours. That's really like a key for overall wellness for sure. And stress management. So that's something that is really critical to overall health. Obviously, that ties in the mental and physical, and it all definitely is intertwined. But those are just some kind of key things that I do want people to take away from this conversation, to really just focus on those every day and really put your self-care first, on this journey.
Have you noticed that those people that you work on personal training, that a lot of it is mental, that a lot of it is barriers and blockages that they've put on themselves because of the mental, and that how that affects
absolutely
physically. So I think all of this ties together, the whole mental, the spiritual, the physical, and it's so much and so broad that we have to, minimalize it into one subject, one theme, because even just in nutrition and health, we have the body, we have our immune system, we have it's part of the body, but I'm saying there's so many different layers to this that I hope we can just cover, a lot of them. And I know that you have a lot of pointers and things in science related and all that. So
yeah, I think
who are you?
So my name is Keith. I dabble in nutrition, exercising, personal training, CrossFit, all that good stuff. But my journey is similar to Lamont's in that I've always been a healthy dude. Like I've always watched what I ate. I mean, we've been together for 22 years, and that's one of the first things she noticed. And I was like, wow, you really watch what you eat. But it was watching what I ate, what I eat under this sort of predisposed scientific, or at least what we've been told is scientific, carbs, proteins, the 30, 30, 40, however you want to chop it up, and, focusing on those things and not really the awareness part of it. Right. So like throughout my journey, I'm vegetarian now too. Cheese is pretty much the only thing that we haven't eliminated that's dairy based. And, for me, that shit was stressful because, from coming from a CrossFit world, it's all about meat, meat, meat. Eat your meat, get your protein, get your protein. 1 pound, two grams per pound. I'm like, there's no way in hell I can eat 100, 300 grams of protein. And when I cut out meat, it stressed me out. I felt like I was gonna get weak. I felt like I was gonna shrivel up, and it was the farthest thing from the truth, right? Like I've PR'd, I recover faster. My recovery is amazing, and I'm doing things now at 41 that I couldn't do at 23, right? And I really think a lot of it is because of getting off the meat, getting off the dairy. But that's a whole different subject, not to go down that rabbit hole. But it sort of led me to what I believe is we have the Holy Trinity, right? From a religious standpoint, but I think that beneath that there's a physical trinity that for me works well, and it sort of starts with number one, nutrition, right? You gain exercise out of bad diet. You've got to eat right. You've got to take care of your body. Your body is your temple. Everything you put in your mouth, you should be having some discernment. Is this helping me? Is this hurting me? Because it's probably doing one or two things. Very few foods are kind of in that middle ground, right? So being aware of what you're putting in your body every minute of every day. And it's not hyper focused, but it's taking that quick second to go, why am I eating this? What's prompting me to pick up this bag of Oreos, right? Because we know it's bad for you, but we eat Oreos every now and again. But it's being aware of the decisions that you're making. Secondly is exercise, right? Like exercising, nutrition and exercise go hand in hand. Your body's made to move. You've got to exercise. And then lastly, and this is Joanna can speak on this in tons of depth. Is meditation, right? You combine those three things, and it's almost hard for you not to be a healthy, thriving person, no matter how old you are, right?
Okay. So as far as like, what are some tips that you have as far as changes that people can make?
So one of the things that, and this goes back to kind of you standing in the aisle at a grocery store, and you got diet tip after diet tip after diet tip after diet tip, and we all know, we've all heard it, and we all accept it, the diets are made to fail, right? And one of the fundamentals that sort of through my research and through my studies that really stuck with me is changes and the success that you have as you make changes. So if you make one small change in your life, and we're not talking about a drastic change like I'm going to be debt free. What the hell's that? That doesn't mean anything. You've got to whittle that down to one actionable item, right? And when you make that one actionable item, and for example, if you say I want to lose weight, there's 15 million things that goes into that. We've got to whittle it down to I want to drink one less soda and replace it with water. That's how small and that's how detailed we have to get, right? But you make one change, you've got an 85% success rate. So you're going to succeed at making that change 85% of the time, which is awesome. You make two changes, that success rate drops down to 35%. You make three or more, 0% chance, which is basically why all diets fail, right? So the thing is, though, is that in doing this, man, and Lamont, jump in, same thing.
Yeah.
Jump in if you guys want to add to it. But when you make these changes and through your journey, when you make that one change, it's deliberate, it's diligent, right? It takes,
you have to have discipline.
right? It takes discipline, not to make the choice, but to make the choice consistently day in and day out. And once you do, you'll start to notice it'll get easier. It becomes second nature. Now you make your second change, your third change. But the problem is that shit takes 3 to 6 months. Nobody got time for that. I want my diet to start next week.
Right.
See, I think that it's important for people to celebrate all the little things, like, oh, wow, I stuck to it. Like I was telling him, if everybody wants to get in on, hey, let's make a one small change that we can all agree that we're going to like take 1 week to just implement one small change, whatever it is, because we all have something that we need to work on. And then like be a support group, whether it's on this page or what, but to just stick to that one change. And then when we can celebrate the fact that we did that, it becomes easier and easier to make more changes. Because then we're looking forward to that, you know, the serotonin, oxytocin, whatever that stimulates the, oh, I did it, and I'm productive and I'm making changes. And that's addictive within itself, but in a good direction.
Right. Yep. That's correct.
When you make the change, you know, the change is the rocket, but the fuel is awareness, right? Like when I'm aware of how I feel after not drinking that soda versus drinking that water, or not eating that piece of meat versus eating more vegetables or whatever, how do I feel afterwards? Because if you're not aware, the glue's not going to be there. The fuel's not going to be there to fuel you to make that choice again and again and again.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No, just to add on to that, one thing I've noticed with working with a lot of people, it's sad to say, but it's something to think about, is that a lot of people do not know what it feels like to feel well. I think that we're used to not, like, we're just used to feeling bad. And so people, they just consider that and accept that as normal and tend to live these like and instead of taking steps that just kind of pile on as you, so something bigger happens in your head when people may or may not take action.
You were breaking up a little bit. Lamont, did you get everything she said?
She was breaking up, but I mean, I was picking it apart. I mean, main thing I get out is almost like awareness. Awareness is the main thing. Once you become aware, you can make better choices. I mean, Keith, you hit it right on the head with the awareness. To me, that was the main thing, bringing awareness, because awareness and discipline. You know, once you're aware, you start working at it day by day, and you start chipping it down until it becomes easier. And then it's easier to tackle other obstacles, just like manifesting. Once you understand the concept, it becomes easier and faster, and it's fun. And you feel better, you're healthier. And like she said, you know, a lot of people don't know what it feels like to feel well. You know, and I always, you know, that's always been something I thought about. So I was like, well, what do I gotta lose? Let's eliminate some things and see how it makes me feel. You know, and that's what excites me about this and growing even more. And you all motivate me, and everyone else motivated me even more to get more active into it. You know, so Keith, we're gonna have to get together sometime. I have to let you burn me out, man.
So we lost Laura, but she's letting me know what's going on. She's trying to log back in.
Let me share this with you, and this is gonna sound I'm just gonna be blunt. It's gonna sound a little gay. All right.
Okay.
But I think you appreciate this.
Not in a bad way, because
I would
hey,
if somebody
gay
told
is
me
okay.
this. Do you remember that fashion show you did? Yo, you remember that?
Yeah.
All right. So I was probably at my fattest at that point. Right? I was at my biggest. Sorry, Lord, this is a sidebar. Just you might find it funny, but so do you remember when you did the underwear walk?
Yes.
Bro, those girls were cheering for you, man. I was like, dude, I want to look like that, dude. I want to be lean like that, dude. I want to walk like that, dude.
He was at his biggest then, and that, I think, triggered him, being around all you models.
Yeah, man.
That he needed to lean up, and that it wasn't all about lifting, and it was more about other things. So we all help each other some way, somehow, and we don't even realize the little like impact that we make on others, you know, that are watching, and you're like, I didn't know you made all these changes because of me. You know what I mean? And we don't tell each other that. So I'm glad you told me.
Yeah, well, and it's a good segue, right? Because you probably never, you thought I never would say something like that, right? But
no, sir.
It'll motivate me, but it speaks to something that's more powerful, especially like Laura, you probably can chime in because it's probably experienced it, right? Is that what I find amazing and like the coaching and the thing that I do is that people hold on to the smallest details that you think are insignificant. You know what I mean? Like the one thing that come out of your mouth that you say it all the time, but yet they hold on to it, they gravitate towards it, and they like that's their motivating factor. And it blows my mind and it stresses me out sometimes because it's like, shit, what if I say the wrong thing and they hold on to that? But it doesn't usually work that way. It's usually good stuff they hold on to, you know? But anyway.
So I'm sorry we lost you. What was the last thing you were saying? Do you remember?
I think I was just saying something about
the people being sick.
Yeah, and just really not knowing what it's like to feel good and accepting like feeling tired or having headaches often and all these other things that we're kind of conditioned to is like normal. Like you run out and go get the Advil or you do this and that as normal, when realistically, like that's really not normal.
Right.
So I think that I think now, like with this group and then everything that's going on now with, you know, COVID-19, I think this is a good time for people to kind of recenter and focus on themselves and bring the awareness that we're talking about and start to recognize like a lot of these things that we've accepted as normal and things that we have to deal with, that we really don't. We can look at them and work through them and improve ourselves and our health.
You know, and so jumping from that, we just watched this video that I actually want to post on this page, on our group page, from a doctor that is talking about our immune system and how they're using fear mongering to, you know, think about external ways of fixing the problem, you know, medicine, this whole big pharma world versus health. How can we improve our immune system so that if and when things happen, we're able to fight it off on our own, you know? And most people are not aware about how our immune system works. I mean, they don't teach us these things, you know, they do on the surface, but they don't really, you rely on the doctors, you rely on the health, you know, people. So now everyone's relying on these vaccines, you know? Do research on the vaccines, do your research on your immune system, do your research on all of this, because it's heavily tied into health. You know, when a short story about me, I, like everybody else, I mean, I grew up in a Spanish culture where meat is very heavy on, you know, it's the main course and we have it all the time. But I ate like everybody else, processed foods, you know, we just whatever we grew up with, thinking that was normal, thinking that we're doing the right thing, you know, just whatever we were taught or whatever our family did, that's what we did. And it wasn't until, when was it? 2000, when we went to Bali in I don't even know what day we're on, so I have no idea what year what that was, but 2016, I don't know. It was a while ago. We went to Bali, and it was a yoga retreat, and it was all vegetarian, and it was all like really like you said, is this going to taste good? You know, like what other vegetables can you incorporate into meals? Because when you're coming from that lifestyle of eating the way everybody regularly eats, going to fast food restaurants and things like that, you don't think about what vegetables. You think, oh, salad, like you're going to have carrots, you're going to have lettuce. Like you don't think about all the vegetables and how they're going to taste when you incorporate them together. Your palate is so used to the toxins that you're not used to the actual flavor until you detoxify. So I believe that detoxifying helps immensely. I think that's what got us on this journey. We started detoxifying, we went to Bali, we, you know, our spirit, our mind, all of that, and connected with that, you raise your vibration, you raise your frequency, you lose your density more and more. The more cleaner you eat, the more you start having raw vegetables that are alive, that have the enzymes you need for recharging our bodies, which are electromagnetic energy, which need energy coming from life, you know, force versus death, flesh, you know, that doesn't really give us life. It doesn't help us ascend on a spiritual level. So I think that when you incorporate, why am I doing this? Like it wasn't much about, oh, I want to lose weight. It was, I want to be healthy on the inside, because if my body is the temple, you know, if this really is how this works, which it is. By the way, I became a metaphysical minister along this whole journey, and I've learned more and more, and it just validates more and more, learning more about the spiritual world, how much it connects to the entire Bible, for example, telling you how it is to ascend, how it is to raise your energy. And it tells you in many ways. It tells you through stories, through allegories, through dark sayings, of how to actually help our temple, how to keep it clean, how to connect with the spirit. Because the more you are clean, the more you have your temple is holy, you know, whole and balanced, then the more you can connect, the more you are at peace, the more everything that everybody's looking for. You know, we're all wanting peace, we're all wanting love, We don't know how to get there, and that's because we stay in the lower vibrations and the lower chakras where it's, you know, sex, pleasure, food, addictions, you name it, you know. And I think that's where we're at right now with society. We're trying to learn how to come up from that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, too. And I'm curious to hear you guys' opinions on this, but like from our side of that, kind of putting that all together and bringing it back into nutrition and diet, is that I know as we became more vegetarian, you know, it's easy to take a piece of meat, throw it on the pan, you know, add some rice in and eat it, right? Like that throw some leaves on it, that's a meal. Um, but you know, with the discipline it takes to be vegetarian, truly, not buying vegetarian meals from the grocery store that are frozen, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, you know, the sort of connecting the body with the soul, and understanding that it takes discipline and it takes practice and it takes, you know, hard decisions. It takes your time. It's hard to be vegetarian. It's not easy, right? But if I'm going to spend time reading the Bible, if I'm going to spend time in meditation, if I'm going to spend time worshiping God, I've also got to give that other piece of myself, which is putting good things into my body and being aware of how I'm living and the decisions that I'm making. And that's with food, that's, you know, with your five senses, be it sexual or any addiction you want to name, you know. But the beauty in the setup, and one of the things that I've learned, and this is my point, is that there's beauty in fixing dinner with your wife, with your kids, right? There's enjoyment in that. There's fulfillment in that. You're not going to remember the Chipotle takeout meal 20 years from now that you had with your kids, but you're going to remember the time you made food together, right? So it's a soul bonding experience, which that's all God, right? You know, cutting up zucchini, fixing it, you know, taking.
Not to mention the energy that you put in when you're making the food, because that's still energy that people feel, you know, when you pass it along. You got somebody else who's got a bad day fixing your food, and then you're eating that.
Yep, it's called putting love in the food. Love in the recipe.
Right.
So you know, you incorporate that into your life, and you start to look at food differently, right? Like, you know, the potato chips, the meat, the this, that, the other. You know, you don't. There's power in the discipline, but there's give back and reward in the discipline, and that's basically.
And this is not an overnight thing whatsoever. Like, all of us have gone through a journey, and it's taken years to get to where we are. So it's not an overnight thing whatsoever. And I think support is the biggest thing, because you have a lot of people, like, I don't know about you guys, but in the family, they're all like, why do you eat that way? Why do you, you know, and it makes it difficult because you have to defend yourself of why you chose what you chose, you know, because they look at you like it's weird. When you're little, you got to eat your vegetables. But when you're big, they got, why you eat so many vegetables?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious to hear that similar experience in your journey, and kind of even the social pushback you get, you know, the side eye look being vegetarian. Well, you don't eat meat. You work out, but you don't eat meat.
Oh yeah, it's very. I get it a lot. I mean, it's growing a lot more in the community, but a lot of people that I'm around, they still eat meat. You know, so it's always a joke when we go somewhere, like, oh, what are you going to eat? You know, but I never worry about it. I'll make something on the meat. I'll make something up, you know, just to stick to my guns. But yeah, it's a challenge, and I'm not saying I don't get tempted by those cookout burgers, but I haven't had one. It's been over a year. I can honestly say, like, I am a pescatarian. I eat fish. I love salmon, but like I said, there's levels to it, and I'm going to be putting that away, because part of my main thing behind my eating is spirituality as well, you know. And it's just like a habit, you know. Like you say, when you're aware, you can be aware and do something and know it's still not, it's not completely right to your to how you feel. But that's where the discipline comes in. So, you know, I still eat fish every now and then, but for the most part, man, I left all the other stuff alone. I feel great. So I know that this next level is going to be even better.
Because we got goals, right? Like, we all have goals. Like, I mean, breatharian is some, you know, way in the future, but it's a goal. Fruitarian, you know, raw veg. It's all levels, you know. Laura,
Yep.
what do you think? You there?
Oh, there she
Oh, there she is. Laura, what do you think?
Well,
As far
for
as levels.
me, one of the, I Can you repeat what you said, because you're breaking up?
What do you think about these levels, like as far as what level you're on or your goals and stuff like that?
Right. Yeah, my goal really is just to kind of keep on the track that I'm on, and know that it's not about perfection, it's about being permanent. So it's making the changes and continually making them so they stay permanent, because it is easy to fall back into old habits. You know,
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
so I was talking about how I want to stay consistent, how it's, you know, more important for consistency to be permanent than worry about perfection, you know, and so forth when we're making these lifestyle changes. And one of the things that kind of keeps me centered on that is, and I don't know if there's any science behind this or not, but my own personal theory that when we're eating animals or animal products that, you know, have gone through, or that I believe that we eat those emotions.
Right.
So like I said,
We're all energy.
yeah, like I said, I honestly I've never researched it to know, but like it just, to me, it just kind of makes sense.
Right.
So, and like I'm an animal lover and everything, and so I'm pretty much just disgusted by the fact of how much factory farming is going on, how it's replaced traditional farming, like just everything about it, like it kind of is mind blowing to me. So I would say that keeps me centered on, like I said, staying away from, for me personally, like the animal products and things that I feel are not good for me. And the other thing to that is it's also made aware of even my vegetables, my produce, pretty much anything I put in my body. Where did it come from?
Right.
Where was it produced? Where was it manufactured? Because half of the time when you're label reading, like the other day I had bought some frozen vegetables, right? It's like I can't put so much produce, fresh produce in the house right now without going to the store so much. It came from Bosnia. There's probably not a lot of value in that. It's traveled all over the world just because it was cheaper to, you know, package over there and so forth. So I'm pretty mindful about when it comes to reading labels, and then researching the companies as well, you know, to as much as I can, to make sure that I'm not being fooled by, you know, fancy marketing, and knowing actually what it is that I'm putting in my body.
He always says if you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't be eating it.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Cucumber. On a spiritual level, you know, you're eating, you're murdering. You know, you should not murder, you should not kill. So killing, and I know that you're not, the people who are buying this off of the shelves and everything are not necessarily killing, but they're supporting it. And then they can say that, you know, in the book that there's slaughtering going on, but that has nothing to do with, that's slaughtering, you know, the lower nature, the animal nature within us. It's not really ever talking about the actual food. And I think, and there's a quote I'll put on here, not a quote, a scripture about what we're meant to eat, which is, you know, the seeds, the nuts from the fruit, from the, you know, from the trees, and etc. So, and I'll put that on there, but that's what got me to kind of go, okay, well, if I really want to be centered spiritually, I really need to work on my physical and on my body and my health and nutrition. Because like he said, he was the one that was the nutrition one, and I was more on the spiritual side. So, you know, that kind of helped me become aware of what I was eating, and then him become a little bit more aware of, you know, the spiritual side of things. So I wonder if Lamont didn't come back on. Yeah, he saw it. Oh, there. There he is. Yay! I must have felt him.
Yeah, and nothing too, Laura, like with science, and this is the disclaimer statement, right? Because science is awesome, science is great, but science leaves out 50% of the story, right? Like there's, you know, there's, like you said, the energy of an animal can't be measured. So how can science address it? So, you know, later with that, we don't need to pay attention to that, but you know, there's so much that, you know, love, fear, all these things can't be explained by science, right? And there's, you know, animals innate, I always forget this word, it's the word instincts, right? Like animals' innate instincts and their behavior are led by a higher knowledge that can't be seen, touched, tasted, anything,
It's the
anything.
innate nature, which we all
Right.
have.
Right, and that intelligence is real, but science unfortunately doesn't want to go down that road. But quantum,
It's almost there, yeah. Quantum physics,
right?
you know, and even then, there's still so much that they still need to learn too. But on a whole, you know, we're getting there. We're slowly moving from, you know, the dark ages and becoming a little bit more aware of everything. So, are any pointers, any keys you want to leave before we like close it up? Anybody want to leave behind some pointers?
Just I say pretty much do your study, do your own studies. When you hear things that sound new, question it yourself. Don't just go with what anyone says. Do your research. You know, just everybody just continue to research and grow and share the knowledge, and we can all grow together.
And if anyone has any questions throughout, you know, and is just can't decide, you know, is this good or not, comment, you know, post it on our page, and one of us that have experienced with it can help, you know, to help push you in the right direction, basically. But you got to ask for it, because, you know, telling people what to do is not the way to go. You have to.
I think for people to grow, they need to understand their why and what it is that they want to change. I think that's like the first step for sure.
I mean, one of the things that I left out earlier talking about making changes is that, you know, you have to be able to make a change. And my one takeaway tip is you have to be able to make a change with 90% or more confidence, right? Like if I know on a scale of 9 to 10 I can't execute this change, then it's too big of a change, or it needs to be whittled down to a smaller change where you can execute it with 90% confidence. And I meant to say that earlier, but that's kind of the glue of the changes discussion for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do like one change this week just to level up. You know, I'm all about leveling up. I have things I need to level up on. So if I can try to change one thing this week and we can keep each other accountable, that's one step in the right direction. So we didn't really have any questions, but is there any questions that you guys have that maybe we can wrap up with? Do you guys follow any certain people?
Not yet.
Did you hear me?
Oh, okay. You froze up. What'd you say?
I said, do you guys follow any certain people that you recommend that you want to share? Or maybe we can just post it on the comments below.
Yeah, we can do that. But I also have one. A lot of people know of him, but in the beginning of my journey, he seemed kind of crazy the way he talks. A lot of people rejected him, but Ralph, Infinite Waters, diving deep.
The cat down the road, right?
Ralph, he drops that knowledge, man. Yep. Like
yeah,
Ralph.
He's good about being vegan. And see, I used to listen to him back in 2012, and he'd always say, "Oh, that 7-day vegan challenge," you know, and that subconsciously, like, I'm like, I can't ever get to that point. And then look, now I'm like right there. Like, it's never too late.
Is that the same guy that says breathe it in the good prana?
Yeah,
is that the same guy? I remember that dude.
He knows him. He knows him. I'm all about Santos Bonacci. If anybody wants to know about deeper metaphysical or truth, syncretism, he's a philosopher really of all types, ties everything together, and he's taught me a lot as far as nutrition goes. So universaltruthschool.com is deep if you want to get into that. That's pretty much what I'm studying is syncretism. So that's my tip on someone to follow. You?
Last thing for me is and it's the hardest thing to do, right? But own your body, your journey, your health, your exercise. Own it. You know what I mean? Don't let a doctor, don't let a diet magazine fad influence you. Have discernment and awareness with every decision that you make, and allow your intuition, the non-scientific portion of the world, flow into your daily practices, and oh my God, it'll lead you absolutely down the right path.
So that when you're at the grocery store, that intuition kicks in, and that awareness, you're like, oh, I'll buy this versus that, you know. Right. It starts from before that. So Well, I really appreciate everybody coming on and having this discussion. I hope that it helps someone or most in some way, and I hope that questions can be addressed, or on the comment section that we can address afterwards. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right.
See you,
Thank
Lamont.
you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.